demonstrate OscerSketch, your graphics program that we're going to be using all term long. So I'm borrowing Amy's account here, and we're going to go to OscerSketch Plus. So here's the basic OscerSketch menu. You'll see along here the elements that you often encounter in organic chemistry. There's a number of bonds here. There's a place for a single electron, double electron. There's a place for molecular charge. These are curved arrows, which we'll talk about in a little bit. These are move buttons. The first one is move a single atom. The second one is move a whole molecule. This is a duplicate button, which we'll demonstrate. This is delete an atom. This is delete a molecule. You got to be careful not to confuse those two. This makes things bigger. This makes things smaller. That centers molecules. This erases everything. And 3D goes, well, 3D. So let's just, there's other stuff up here, but let's just jump in and draw something. So we'll start off by drawing butane, which of course is made out of carbon. So carbon is already selected. Single bond is already selected. So I can simply draw out butane. Now that's a little small, so I'll use the enlarge button. Each time you click this, it gets 25% larger. That's too big. Let's go back. This is the center button, which puts in the middle or the upper left-hand corner, depending. You click it alternate times. So there it is in the center. Well, butane is kind of a boring molecule. Let's turn it into an alcohol. To do that, I need to select the oxygen, and I can just overwrite the end carbon, and that'll turn it into an oxygen. Now, I should say something about hydrogens. Oxygen, of course, has two bonds, so Oscar knows that that oxygen must have a hydrogen on it. The same way it knows that the end carbon has three hydrogens. Now, the middle carbons, it doesn't say CH2, but Oscar knows they're there. It just, we simplify the drawing so they don't look so messy. Now, that hydrogen, this is what we call implicit hydrogen. Oscar knows it's there, so Oscar puts it in. Now, we can draw it in explicitly, and you may want to do that, particularly if you're going to use it for a chemical reaction. Indeed, let's do a chemical reaction. So we'll draw in a reaction arrow and do a chemical reaction. Now, this is an alcohol. Alcohols, it's pretty hard to do. I don't have any good reactions for an alcohol right now. So let's turn it into something more reactive. Let's make it a carboxylic acid. So I'm going to add another oxygen, and I want a double bond. Now, I could use the double bond, but there's another way of doing it. Let's draw in the single bond and just click it again. Now it's a carboxylic acid. So it's a good candidate for doing a chemical reaction. What do carboxylic acids react with? Well, they react with amines, which are, of course, good bases. So nitrogen, there's you give you ammonia, but let's turn it into methylamine. That's a little more exciting. So here we have methylamine. So that methylamine will indeed react with the carboxylic acid. Let me just move it over a little bit by using the center button, and we'll draw out the product. So what's to do? The amine's going to come and take that proton. Okay, so we can do that by we're going to do it by duplicating the original molecule. I hit the 1 to 2 button up there. That allows me to duplicate, and now the second copy I can move over here. Now I have to tell it that it's gained a proton, but Oscar has a smart way of doing that because when it gains the proton, it gets a positive charge. So if you give it the positive charge, it'll automatically put on the proton. If you want to take the proton away, just go use minus and reduce the charge back to neutral and it's gone. But we want the proton on there. Now, what about the carboxylic acid? Well, of course, that becomes a carboxylate. And again, what we can do is we simply can duplicate it. Okay, here we've duplicated it. Let me center it again. We can duplicate. I want to move it over a little bit more. Okay, and now I want remove that hydrogen, and we're going to have a negative charge on that oxygen. Well, this is an explicit hydrogen, so I actually have to remove it. So these are the delete buttons. The first one deletes an entire molecule. The one with the box is an entire molecule. The one without the box is a single atom. So I can go in and get rid of the explicit hydrogen. And now the implicit hydrogen, if I tell it the oxygen has a minus charge, it'll automatically go away. So here's our chemical reaction. It looks very nice, and maybe you want to put this in, some manuscript that you're writing out, or you're doing a homework on a piece of paper you want to copy. So how would you do that? Well, you can't just save this drawing. If you try to do copy right now, it won't work because the graphics format is simply wrong on the web. So what we can do though is we can turn it into a image that you can copy, and to do that you use this crop tool up here. come up here and you crop the image, and now just what you've drawn the box around will be copied. Hit the submit key, and what you see up here is your drawing has been uploaded successfully. That means it sent it to the server. The server has converted it to a standard graphics file. So if you can actually do a copy image here, and you'll get a PNG file. This also submits it to the server where the instructor can access it if you're doing this in lecture, where the instructor wants you to work out a problem and share with the rest of the class. So let's get out of this and go back and see some other tricks that one can use. These stores up here are really important. If you want to let me turn the crop off. If you want to store this for later and you want to work on some other problems, you can go up here and say store 1. And if you click view over here, you'll see, well, that image we just have here is now stored in image 1, number 1 down there. So I can come down here and I can erase it. I can draw something else. Maybe I'm going to draw something with a ring down here. Down here we have the ring. So let me draw a benzene ring. Okay, and say we're working on another problem here, and I'm getting my window a little bit out of alignment here. Sorry. Okay, so we will say we're going to draw out something else here. Well, that didn't look very nice. Well, what am I going to do? I drew this. It doesn't look nice at all. This looks terrible. Look at this. Horrible. Who drew this molecule? Look at this. Wolfie's best view. Let Wolfie draw it. Click on that magic wand up here. Click again, and well, Wolfie will draw it. Wolfie knows what he's doing. And okay, so this is a new drawing. This is some other problem. Well, I'll store it in position 2. But I want to go back and work on position 1. I go up here and I can do it 2 ways. I either hit load 1, it'll load this, or I can double click on the image, and it'll bring it back. So I'm right back to where I started, except of course over here in number 2 is the other molecule. So these loads, these save and load buttons are really useful. You have 4 of them, and you can always use the little view button to see what you've saved in one of them. And when you log out, you come back, these things will be waiting for you. So that's really useful in terms of working on your homework. So what other fun things can we do in here? The 3D button. Click 3D. Now click on one of your molecules. What do we got? Well, we have a 3-dimensional image of the carboxylic acid. That's a fun thing to do. Now sometimes the 3D picture isn't quite correct, but generally it's not too bad. There's other things down here.